Hello, hello. Welcome to New Gameplay Today. I am your host, Wesley LeBlanc. That's right. I am back on the YouTube channel making some videos for all of you. Today, I am joined by Game Informer's very own Brian Shea, and we are going to be talking about a game that he has reviewed called Recipe for Disaster. How you doing, Brian?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing good. Excited to be back and on the old YouTube page. Going to be a good time.
Yeah, so this is Recipe for Disaster. It is a restaurant management simulator, and it's been in early access for several months now, and they've been making steady improvements. So I'm just showing off a couple of different scenarios here. This is one where, like you can see in the lower left-hand corner, I am very much in debt. I'm intentionally choosing some that I am completely hopeless in recovering from any situation that I'm in right now. This is one that I built from scratch. I remember I originally had various ideals of how I was going to run this place, and then it ended up being too ambitious, and that's how we're in the situation we're in right now. So I loaded up this save to show off the various things. But this is like, you can manage this all the way down to a granular level. You see right now I'm in a menu right now, customizing how much this fried, spiced, preserved anchovies item on the menu is, and I'm able to raise or lower the price individually, or I can do a global markup. Since this is a sandbox mode that we're looking at right now, you can see in the right-hand side of the screen that there's objectives that are like very loose objectives, like based on like getting reviews, getting a certain number of customers, making a certain amount of money per day, and you hit different tiers based on that. You can see right now, this is my inventory of what foods that I have. I need to make sure I have the right foods in stock in order to serve the items on my menu. So if I add a new item on the menu, I have to make sure I order the right food as well.
And so we're jumping into a new save now. So I have a question right off the bat. So this isn't just build one restaurant and try to manage it for the duration of the game. It sounds like more scenario based, or
so there are, I think it's 6 or 8 scenarios, and this is one of them, by the way. I was just in sandbox mode. We jumped over here to, this is one of the scenarios. So it's a kind of a more upscale restaurant. Like there were some that were like, all right, this is like a mom and pop restaurant. There's one that's like, this is like an ailing barbecue spot, you need to save it. There's one that's like you're building on next to a construction site. You got a really good deal, but like it's infested with rats. And you can see like you can hire different employees. So like you want to have a well-rounded team comp, and you can like set off different uniforms for different characters. You can create your own uniforms. So like you see I have this default group, and then I also have like a wait staff group, a bus staff group, and all these other groups that like will give them different things. You also, as you play, you get reviews from the customers that come in. So they'll tell you like what they liked, what they didn't like. Oh, this was priced unfairly. This was priced too high. This was, I wish you had this. And when they say like, I wish you had this on the menu, you can actually get, you can add the recipe with a click of the button, and that'll add it. And then you can go in and edit the recipe. Like say, oh, well, this was like, you'll see it in a little bit here where I actually did have a request come in. But so I hit speed up here so we can see what's happening. You also have an order queue on the left-hand side of the screen that you're seeing right now, where you can see like where every table is. So that customer's waiting for somebody to come take their order. The other one has already placed their order, and you see the kitchen kind of going to work on that order. I'm going at 3 times speed. Then you can go into this employee section. You can see what their thoughts are, what their stats are, what their priorities are, what their current salary is, or what their hourly wage. And then we're back in here. It's like, oh, well, we're running low on clams. So I adjusted what the minimum amount of clams that we have on hand at any given point. So you can see those green emblems on the tables. That means their order is up, and we're just waiting for somebody to deliver them.
Okay.
People
so
will get...
Is this as, like, it seems like it's kind of nailing the stress of a restaurant, both in like what's happening on screen and then what you have to do as the player. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, the financial situation, keeping the staff happy, making sure customers aren't waiting too long, and like making sure customers are giving you good reviews. So this restaurant is running like a well-oiled machine right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run it into the ground again. So I'm just gonna duplicate all these tables and make it so that we now have way too many tables for the employees that we have. And this is going to set off the thing that I mentioned in my review. It's always like a delicate balancing act where you're constantly kind of like, all right, well, I want to grow and expand, but do I have the staff for that? And if you hire more staff, that'll help, but also people can get upset because it's too crowded in here. People are taking their responsibilities. They don't have anything to do. And so you see, like right now I'm hitting up 3 times speed, and you're going to see like some stuff will go down here. This is not intended to be the best run I've ever done. But you can see like I have like a ton of reviews. I'm a pretty well established restaurant at this point. I did pass this scenario. This is actually an older save that I brought up. So see, here comes the beginning of the downhill slide right here. A food critic has arrived. I don't have nearly the staff needed to take care of this many tables, so things are going bad. So now the restaurant's on fire. So
you're supposed to cook them ratatouille. That's how you make the critic happy.
That's what I hear, but they also don't like the rats. But yeah, so this is a valuable lesson that I learned in a past save. Make sure you have fire extinguishers, because things can catch on fire. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give them the fire extinguishers that they will need to extinguish this fire, because I have everything so like back to back and side to side. A fire can spread very easily in this place. Where you see some people panic. Everybody reacts differently to fire. Some people have like a really negative morale hit. Most people do. Some people remain calm under pressure. Some people actually spring into action to try to extinguish the fire. But yeah, so they took care of the fire. It's going away. Now that's dirty, so somebody's gonna have to clean it. But here comes the food critic. He has no idea what's happening. And then you see people are going about their time, but some of them are getting impatient because everybody was distracted by the fire. So, all right, that table wrapped up. I'm making sure that an extra person is assigned to try to make up for the fact that there's a lot of people in the restaurant. So I have this waiter that I had not assigned to any tables. So I'm doing that. I'm assigning Jennifer, who I hired specifically to be a waiter, to these tables. And that'll hopefully give some relief. But you see, I just got a request in the reviews in the lower right-hand corner. So once I assign these people, I'm going to give like the people who are both waiting tables and cooking. I'm going to give them a little bit of relief in the form of this waiter.
I imagine the game kind of eases you into all this, because looking at this right now, I mean, this is seems like a late game restaurant or a well-oiled machine, as you put it. Like, this seems very stressful.
This is mid-game, yeah, and it can be very stressful. You see, you create an avatar in the beginning, and actually your avatar isn't so great. And also, you see my guy who's named after me is at his breaking point, which means he's very stressed out, or something is harming his morale. And I think what it was the fire, and then the food critic stress, and then also the health inspector just arrived, which is not great.
Goodness.
That's that guy with the red hair and the comb over right now. All right, so people just left. So like, let's look at all the recent reviews. I had to wait so long for my food that I just left. So
the whole table wrote reviews.
Things are falling apart very quickly here. But see, roasted butter was the request that somebody had. Some of them are actual dishes. Other ones, I don't know if they're actual dishes, but I'm going to add an extra step to this. So this is the recipe editor that you're having here. So I'm going to first roast the butter. Then I'm going to sear the butter in a pan with some other items to make it more of a substantial dish here. So I'm looking at some mushrooms, some portobello mushrooms.
I'd say we gotta get something else in this dish. We can't just serve a plate of butter.
For sure. And then I think maybe some Brussels sprouts will be good. And then you can do as much as you want here. So you see the cook time is 4 minutes. It costs $3.10 to make. And you can see I've reached my breaking point. Sometimes they'll run around and like scream and everything. And I've just decided to lay down and weep in the middle of the kitchen. You can see all the things that are causing me there. There's a food critic here. There's a health inspector here. That we're running low on ingredients. People's morale is low is another thing. Now here you can see Tracy just reached a level up point where every once in a while they'll gain enough experience. And I gave her the rock star, which is when she's near other employees and she's cooking, those employees also get a boost to their cooking stat. So you see another customer group has left. The health inspector gave us a 10 out of 10. I've noticed the health inspectors are very easy on this. I don't think I've ever gotten anything less than an 8 out of 10. So because I added a new recipe, I need to add new ingredients. So you went and added Brussels sprouts and portobello mushrooms to the ingredients order. So that happened just at the right time. I'm looking here. There's no servers that can help us out. Everything is falling apart. The food critic is getting fed up. Like, things like this go downhill so fast if you don't manage it properly. which is why I intentionally added way too many tables than what my staff can handle, because the waiters don't get to them on time. The kitchen starts falling behind in their order queue, and things can go downhill very quickly. And here we go, another fire. As you see on the right-hand side, Brian Shea performed so poorly while cooking that a fire started. So things, and you can see right here, like, yeah, things aren't going well. This is actively you can see it says active disaster fires. This is an active disaster of a restaurant. That's why I chose this. So we're coming up on the end here of this gameplay, but we're gonna take one quick look at the building tools, just so you can get an idea of what that is. So now we're taking a look at the creation tools here. Like we saw what it looks like when a couple of very poorly managed restaurants are running. Now we're going to see what happens when you enter sandbox mode and just kind of build from scratch. So it kind of gives you like this starter area. You can demolish these walls. You can do whatever you want. But for the sake of this demo, we're going to try and make it so that we can build without expanding at all. So I'm going to place a deep fryer. We're going to do a grill. And let's see what staff is available. So this is what the staff I have. I have 5 people, including my avatar. This is just a very basic start. I want to make sure there's something on the menu, because I've done it before where I've opened and I forgot to add stuff to the menu, and customers sit down and then they leave, and the 1-star review, there's nothing on the menu.
That's amazing.
So yeah, you can do this. Like, these are actually recipes I've saved from other scenarios. You can see there's actually no ingredients on the thing. So what I'm doing is I did a minimum stored global. I don't like doing that under normal circumstances, but that'll make it so I can open. So yeah, we have the 2 tables, we have the 4 bathroom stalls. I need to add a fridge because there's no refrigerated storage. You need refrigerated storage and dry storage. So I'm going to try to place this dried storage here, but you're going to see that there's just nowhere that I can place it that's not blocking something else, because the kitchen is so tiny in this. This is a kitchen that's not meant for anything really. So we're going to have to expand. We're going to have to do a little bit of demolition, we'll say. So we're on the top part there, you see that is like the wall and floor tool. So I'm gonna make it so that I can destroy these walls. Nice. It's pretty intuitive, actually. So I'm gonna leave that wall so I can actually use the duplicate tool. So we're gonna build. That's probably enough room right there, and then go over there and close it in. That should give us enough room to operate. You see, in sandbox mode in the lower left corner, you actually have a pretty decent bankroll of $10,000 to start with. So you can do some pretty good stuff with that.
Yeah.
And I'm using the duplicate tool right now to spread this, to keep it consistent. Then I use the duplicate tool, or that was the eyedrop tool to spread the wall to the same style. And then I duplicated the door and moved it to the new wall. And then I demolished the old door. So now I'm just
does the creation of your restaurant play into like reviews or anything like that, or is this
if it has to look good. If it doesn't look good, then it gets negative reviews. Like the aesthetics have to be good. Like I didn't show it in this demo, but there's like an overlay that shows like what the atmosphere is in every part of the restaurant. So like if like you see, like I have those 2 wine racks in the painting, and like there's a table lamp. That has probably very good atmosphere. But if I put somebody in the corner, which I'm going to do in a second here after I build out this the kitchen a little bit better, I'm going to add some more appliances to make it a more fully functioning kitchen. So now I can put that shelf there. So now I have dry and refrigerated storage. I'm going to add the fire extinguishers. So we saw what happens when you don't do that.
Yep.
And then countertop is for like chopping items and preparing stuff, like some prep work. And then it says I can't perform boil or sear. You see that in the bottom part. So that is going to mean I need to add an oven or a stove. So I'm missing an oven already, but now something on my menu requires me to have something needs to be boiled and seared, which is a stove. So but first I'm gonna do some table duplication here to make it so I can seat a few more people in the restaurant once I do open. So we're gonna go. You can see that I'm gonna add some stuff for like atmosphere. Like there's a chandelier that I'm gonna add to it, and then I'm going to change the floor because I don't really like this kind of like light wood. So I'm gonna just take a look at what some of the options are here, and see if I like it. I do like it, so we're gonna expand that to the entire restaurant. So you paint that. it's pretty easy to do all this stuff. Like, again, I would highly recommend people take the tutorial and then play the scenarios, because it does give you a solid ramp up to learning how to do all this stuff. And the tutorials do a fine job, but I learned so much more playing the scenarios. So because I see that you can't perform boilage sear, I'm like, all right, well, I need a stove for both of those things. So there we go. That warning message goes away, and restrooms are already taken care of. Trophies are for when you get those tier objectives. So just a little bit of looking at the exterior. You can add like landscaping that will attract additional customers to come in. That's a queue. So that's where customers, if like there's not enough tables, customers will queue up by that like kind of sign right there. But and we're going to hit open, and that is Recipe for Disaster. You'll see I'm going to assign some workers to wait on these tables. I'll need to do the same for the appliances eventually, but I can actually duplicate that. So if I want all the tables to be the same, I can just duplicate that and it pastes those assignments. But overall, I really like this game. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, and I'm glad it's exiting early access in the state that it is. It's an overall a very fun game.
Yeah, go make sure to go read Brian's full review on GameInformer.com for Recipe for Disaster. And if you like what you saw here, like you mentioned, it's out of early access now, and you can check it out for yourself.
It's on
Brian,
PC only.
Awesome. Yeah. Brian, thank you so much for joining me. And thanks for watching, everyone.